was during the early part of February that the South African horse racing fraternity was shocked to learn of the premature retirement of former champion jockey Anthony Delpech. Just when things looked rosy, he'd started riding work at Summerveld and felt really strong after an intensive rehabilitation program after a horrific fall that took place in the Classic last year. Obviously a very, very bitter pill to swallow, but one that the doctors have deemed necessary, and who are we to argue with what might be a life-threatening injury and of course a danger to himself and those around him. That is a very personal decision, and we're going to take you behind the scenes to the late 90s when horses like Secretary General and Hot Guard and Harmony Forever, Classic Flag, Imperious Sue were around. But even before that, we need to find out, where did it all begin for the boy from the island? His name affectionately, Dallon.
I'm from the Seychelles. I came here about 15 years ago. I had no idea about racing or horses, but everyone at school always used to say to me, I must become a jockey because I was so small. Well, I went to find out about it. I thought it was more of a sport than anything else, and I ended up becoming a jockey.
When we come back to the original system of the Academy, it's a system that's been heralded worldwide as being one of the most successful producers of champion jockeys. And we've seen that with Michael Roberts, with Basil, with Felix, with Barty Leisha, with Douglas White, Pierce Stradham. All these guys have made it through the Academy, and it obviously is a very good system.
It's brilliant. I love the Academy. I enjoyed it. I never regret one day of the Academy. And without the Academy, I don't think I would have been as successful as I am today. And they start teaching you from the basics. And before you learn to ride, they teach you about all the equipments and everything else. Most of the guys, before they go to the Academy, has never sat on a horse. So you go about it the right way of riding horses.
And it's Johan's Jet, the last 100. Boy Blue trying to come back in the closing stages. Clockwork Orange is on the inside, but Johan's Jet's in front. And Johan's Jet will get it 100% right today. At the 200, Diagonal, a one to get to now, and Diagonal goes on a couple of lengths clear. Inside the final 150, it's Diagonal by a couple. Helios is now racing away in second and even times. Diagonal's in front, Helios, Munstead, all trying on, but Diagonal had it safe. Diagonal won it a length and a half.
Anthony, who was your first source of inspiration?
My trainer, Joe Joseph, I was an apprentice to him for 5 years, and he was a great teacher. He taught me a lot. He was very strict with me. He never gave me chances my first 2 years. He first taught me to ride properly, and he waited until he believed I was strong enough to handle horses.
Tell us some of the influences of your life subsequent to the late Uncle Joe Joseph.
One of the biggest breaks in my career was to get the job with David Ferraris. That helped me to get to know more trainers in Johannesburg and to get more chances with other trainers there. And with me being able to ride in Johannesburg for other trainers made me ride more winners, and by me riding more winners, everyone started recognizing me. I always believe if you don't get a break in life, you will never be able to achieve what you'd like to achieve. You also got to work very hard at it, but if you don't get the break, you will never be able to prove to everybody how good you are.
The small little son of Allied Flag produced every jockey's dream, and you managed to pull it off at a relatively young age.
Classic Flag, the yellow cap has got over from 18 to run second. Classic Flag couldn't be better positioned. Then London News. Prairie Breeze has been niggled at. Farrelmont, the yellow cap, is still passing runners, then the Delegator. Flying Jewels only got 4 to go down the left-hand side, the red cap. And North by Northwest is kicking on. It's Classic Flag, the yellow cap picks up the Ruffins. Farrelmont's running a big race, then North by Northwest and Golden Ord. But it's all Classic Flag. He's about a length and a quarter clear. Running on strongly, Farrelmont down the inside, Flying Jewel. But Classic Flag has come over from 18. And Classic Flag won at the second place. It'll go to Farrelmont.
Gold Penner refusing to give in, and Imperious Sue's coming home well along the inside. Shah Star has switched out. He's 2 lengths off the leader. North by Northwest. Imperious Sue along the inside has come through to pick it up. Shah Star is trying hard. North by Northwest has his nose in front. Imperious Sue is coming with every stride. Imperious Sue, North by Northwest. Here it comes, desperately close. Imperious Sue, North by Northwest. Smart Money in behind that. Then came Shah Star, London News behind that.
I'm very lucky. I walk around about 50 and a half, and I don't really have a problem with my weight. I don't have to watch my diet. And I'm very lucky because I pick up a lot of winning rides riding the bottom weights, because nowadays there's not too many jockeys that can ride 50.
Give us an example of an average day in your life.
My morning starts about 5 o'clock, and I finish work about 7 o'clock, rush home, have a shower, catch a plane, and then get back home about 8 o'clock in the evening. I do that about 4 days a week.
Obviously, your wife is very tolerant of your racing and your travelling. It must play a very big role in your life, having that support structure.
Yes, it's very important, Andrew, because with my son only being 19 months, he wakes up quite late in the morning, and I'd never get to see him because I leave home very early, and by the time I get back home, he's fast asleep. But my wife has been very supportive, and she's backing me up, and that's a big help. You know, you do need them behind you.
Are you looking forward to the opportunity of tackling the international scene? Where does your goal really lie as far as international racing is concerned?
Well, you know, being this season being a great season for me, I'm looking for next season to go ride abroad. I'd like to ride in Hong Kong. I enjoy the racing there. I watch a lot of the tapes there, and hopefully I can get opportunity to go and show my ability there.
Secretary General sneaking through on the rails. Ashton Town, if he gets the rails, runs travelling beautifully. Record Edge, Anisius on the outside. Secretary General, Great World is finding more. Record Edge trying to wear down on the outside. Great World and Secretary General, the front runners. Ashton Town still trying to get through on the fence. I don't think he'll get there, but fortune's coming late. Secretary General, Ashton Town, what a great finish to the Nissan. Secretary General.
Harmony Forever, the Red Silks, then Ganzamaka. Ashton Town's trying to kick on along the rail. London News is on the outside as they come down to the 200. London News coming out to get Harmony Forever and Planetary Music. Ashton Town on the inside. London News, Harmony Forever. Ashton Town's taking late along the rail. Harmony Forever's just holding on though. Harmony Forever won the South African Guineas.
Jetmaster came away with Chief Editor, Royal Sanctuary. They were followed by Bright Night. He has the run of the fence, and outside of that is Classic Flag. Lestat is racing amongst them, and they were followed by Mr. Wizard. Then comes Royal Victor, Model Magic. United Land is well out of his ground as they race them on towards the 800-metre pole. And Foreign Press is the leader by 4. The Delegator's gone up to race a clear second. He's moved 3 lengths ahead of Jetmaster and Chief Editor. They were followed by Royal Victor, then Royal Sanctuary, Lestat, Classic Flag, and then Bright Night. Further back at this stage is French Guest. Then Jetmaster. Jetmaster's at the front, but Classic Flag is in pursuit with the Delegator. Foreign Press, and on the outside is Chief Editor. They come past the 200 Jetmaster. Classic Flag. It's Classic Flag and Jetmaster, and Classic Flag has got to the front. Jetmaster's got no answer. Classic Flag from the worst of the draw. He's the best in the land. Classic Flag a length to Jetmaster.
Yes, indeed, he was the very best in the land, as was Anthony Delpech, as was David Ferraris. And in next week's program, we're going to take you down a road that will see a very rare double taking place where Anthony Delpech wins the Classic and the Vodacom Durban July, as he did with Classic Flag, who won both the Classic and the Rothmans July. A colleague of David Ferraris's, at school with Michael de Kock. Grey's Inn is the horse that we start the program with next week in a tribute, part 2, to one of South Africa's greatest riders ever, Anthony Delpech.